Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. Finally, I get to have this young lady on the show. Vanessa Perez is here. I love the title of this show. You didn't wake up to be mediocre. She's got an amazing organization, WOMANtrepreneurs. I know I'm not saying that right, but I have the website scrolling across there so you don't have to listen to my gibberish. Very excited to have you on the show. Welcome, Vanessa.
Thank you so much, Ted. I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much for saying this young lady. I appreciate that.
Well, of course. And in my world, everyone's younger than me. Unless you're a Titanic survivor, you are probably not younger than me.
Don't worry, I stumbled on the name myself too. So you pretty much hit it, WOMANtrepreneur.
Okay. WOMANtrepreneur. Okay, good. See, I'm going to learn. But I love it. I love the concept. We talked a little bit before we went live how much I love what you do, and I love this topic. But before we take a deep dive into that origin story, we want to know a little bit about you. You obviously didn't wake up at 5 and say, "Mom, can I have a WOMANtrepreneur Barbie?" You had a journey along the way. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Sure. So basically, I'm somewhat of a Florida native. I've been here for about 43 years. And I don't know, there was just something instilled in me. I don't come from an entrepreneurial family, but just something that said I always wanted to work for myself. And I've dabbled, I've gone and I've worked 9 to 5 as well. And I just kept going back to, founding my own company. Graduated from UCF with a degree in business management.
Started nice. Me too.
Oh, you too. Nice. Of course, now I feel old because my son's 21 and he's a sophomore there now. But yeah, just always knew that I wanted to own my own business. So after I graduated from college, went straight to signing a 5-year lease and opening up my first business and had no idea what I was doing.
Well, isn't that, but here's this, we were talking before we went live. My children watched me I've always been an entrepreneur. And they have no desire to be entrepreneurs. And so when you say that you didn't come from a household where entrepreneurship was the mode of doing things, I find it fascinating. I think there is this spirit in you or in us. When you have that entrepreneurial spirit and you want to work for yourself and you have this dream and this vision, it just burns. You can't not do it.
No, I think you're absolutely correct in that. And it just keeps, no matter what you do, you just keep being drawn back to it. Yes. And then some people who try, to become an entrepreneur, they realize, you know what, maybe it's not for me. So
it can be challenging. I mean, I always tell people, look, don't force yourself into it. If you're not made of that cloth, you're not cut from that, then there's no point in pushing it. But if you do have a dream and a vision, there's a lot of opportunity, especially I feel like since COVID. So talk about your business. Let's talk about, you say it.
Okay. It is called WOMANtrepreneur. And
yes, and I know that's how you say it. And I swear I don't know why I'm stumbling.
By the end of this interview, I'm sure it'll be rolling off your tongue. Okay. So, and nothing against men, at all. But it just, women can relate a little bit differently. And just through my own experience of being an entrepreneur, when I first started some 20 years ago, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And you're just trying to figure out day by day. And yeah, it's a lot. You're wearing constantly different hats. It's a 24/7 type of thing. And so through the years, for about 20 years, I realized I still had that need for, a little bit more support, a little bit more practical hands-on support. And when my life changed probably about 4 or 5 years ago, and I shut down my last business, and I thought, okay, what now? And when I got back out into the community and started talking to other women business owners, they were needing the same thing. They weren't looking for networking. They weren't looking for a social group. All that is good, but they wanted somewhere that they could go that was a safe space to actually talk about the fundamentals of owning a business.
Because I don't think there's any other resource. I mean, there's different resources, but when you're talking about running a business, the experience and the ups and downs and the mistakes and the trial and error that you've had that maybe a new person hasn't experienced yet, it's invaluable. It is priceless what you can offer them, because even though they're going to make their own mistakes, no matter what, you can still help them, or at least give them an idea of how not to repeat the same mistakes.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, it's an education in itself of all those wins and failures and, all of it together. And what I say is, sometimes people come to me and say, oh, well, you're a business coach. And I tell them, actually, I'm not. I don't look at myself that way. We all have expertise and skills, whether you've worked for yourself, whether you work for someone else, and knowledge that you can bring to the table. And we just share all of that. And then together we're able to just do amazing things.
So tell me what actually, we'll talk about the topic in a minute, because, you know, I love this title, but tell me exactly what happens. So if somebody's watching, you have a woman entrepreneur that says, all right, I love what Vanessa's saying, and they reach out to you. How does it work? What goes on? Do you mentor? Do you have networking events? I love the safe space part, because we both know that a lot of networking events can be a meat market, and there's nothing going on as far as real business goes. It's a whole bunch of other stuff. So tell them, explain to them, kind of giving them an example of what would happen when they call you.
Sure, definitely. So I can walk you through that. So basically, they would give us a phone call, and I truly believe in building relationships with people, getting to know you, where you are, what stage of business, you know, what your passion is, what your vision is, what you want to accomplish, and then I invite them to come to what we call as one of our work groups, and basically that's, you know, kind of like their advisory board. There's only 8 women to a work group, so once you have a seat in that work group, it is your seat, and we ask them to commit. They consistently have to show up twice a month. We hold them accountable to prioritizing the goals. And when we say the goals for their business, we mean the goals that are mainly going to make their business money, because that's ultimately what you're in business for. Otherwise, it's just a hobby. So we bring all of that knowledge, expertise, skills, and then we just allow these women to come for their first visit and just kind of see how we do it. Then the other thing we do at those work groups is we track and measure everything that these women do. So if you're not tracking and measuring what you're doing, you know, how are you able to see how the business is growing and what you should be doing, what you shouldn't be doing. So we make sure that we hold them accountable in that aspect as well. But it's interesting because a lot of people do see us as just, you know, because of the name, it's a social group, it's a networking group, which I believe networking is important and socialization is important. But when they come to an actual work group and see what we do, that way we actually pull them out of their business, the day-to-day, make you work, sit down and think about what needs to happen in your business. They're like, oh, I get it. And this is what I need.
Well, I think it's great, because we were talking again before we went live. I'm the type, I've got a lot of ideas. I have a lot of stuff. I've run countless businesses, but I am an ideas person. And sometimes what I consider the minutia, nitty gritty of the actual business, which is critical to my success, isn't my favorite part. And sometimes it gets lost. It gets lost in what I'm doing. And so to have some sort of accountability discussion, you know that people are going to ask you about what's going on. That, to me, I would have loved that the first business I had. I would have loved to have had somebody go, Ted, why are you doing all this? Why aren't you doing this? Or, okay, you've just spent $1 million on advertising. What are you getting from it? Like, the discussions would have been very, very helpful for me. And so I love the fact that there's some sort of accountability, and people hate that word, but yeah. I love that word. I think that it has a bad reputation. I think it's a great word that entrepreneurs need to have.
No, it's definitely true. It's cute because some of the members they're like, you know, we meet every 2 weeks, and they'll, you know, they're like, oh shoot, you know, we're going to be meeting tomorrow. I haven't done, you know, what I'm supposed to do. But hey, if that's what gets them to finish and prioritize their goals, then, you know, it's well worth it. So
it really is. I feel like what you do, it's not done. There's lots of leads groups. There's lots of chamber groups, which are part of the chamber, right? We have to give that shout out. We love Lake Nona. We love Lake Nona Chamber. There are chamber groups. There are all sorts of networking opportunities within industries and outside of industries. But to actually have somebody sit with me, and I know that I'm going to be talking about my business in a way that I don't talk with anyone else, I think it's very powerful what you do.
No, I love it, Ted, because we have healthy conversations, you know, like you were saying, you know, about having these conversations, but things sometimes you may not discuss in other groups. And, you know, sometimes we're talking about our profit and loss statements or our cash flow projections. And just to see these women actually take, you know, look at that and go, wow, I never did this before. You know, I was in business, but really wasn't accounting for all of that. And when can I, like you said, some of the stuff you don't want to have to do. Okay, well, when can you hire someone to do that? You know,
yes.
So, and it's nice to be able to, again, have those conversations amongst other women who get it.
Well, that's right. And what's interesting to me about anything that is women centric is that there's such an opportunity to be empowering. I feel like you all in general, very empowering, but there are also groups that are not so empowering. There's a lot of negativity. I feel like women can be harder on each other. And I love the way you described this group, that it was a safe place. And so that means that you've set those boundaries and parameters, that that's not allowed. I have been involved in organizations where it's women centric, and it is rough. It is, I'm going to say I'm super glad I'm not a woman, because it is rough, but I love how you framed it. I love how you framed it. And I want to talk about the title. You didn't wake up to be mediocre. I want to know what does that even mean? Because everybody's got a different definition of mediocre. What I consider mediocre, that might be the highest level they feel like they can go. So tell me about this title and why you chose it.
So when I say that, and I use that in a lot of my presentations when I first open up, you didn't, I'll ask, did you wake up to be mediocre? And sometimes there's a pause, and then normally the entire crowd will agree. No, I didn't. But to your point, Ted, is that exactly that? Like, not, everybody has different levels of what they want to achieve in life. And I tell all of our members that whether you want to achieve, just an extra $500 for your family to cover certain bills, or you want to achieve, 6-7 figures with your company, it's whatever that goal is for you. So set that mediocrity level and just basically finish what you start. You didn't wake up to be mediocre. So if you do set whatever level or whatever goal for your life, that purpose, then finish it. And we're here to help you.
I think mediocrity too. I love that, by the way. And I love the whole concept of women entrepreneurs.
Nice. See, it's getting better.
It's getting better. I think mediocrity, people work hard and not smart. And so they get frustrated. And so there are different levels of what you feel like mediocrity is and what I feel like mediocrity is. But I think that word itself should motivate anyone, because even if you are, we talked about this earlier, a worker bee, somebody who loves, like my children, they want to go to work at 9 or 8, and they want to be out by 5, and they want to be done, and they don't want to think about work. I've never had that because I've always been an entrepreneur. 24/7, we talked about how that's just how our lives are. So what I would consider mediocre, they might consider as exceptional. And so when we say the word mediocre, we're not trying to put anyone down. We're just saying, if you want to do better, if you want better, bigger things, if you don't want to stay stuck in the same rut, and you have ideas and you have goals and you need some assistance in making those happen, this is where Vanessa comes in. So I think that's good to have a safe place. Honestly, I know I keep harboring on that word, but in this world right now that we live in, that word is super important in anything we're doing. So kudos to you. All right. What's the best way they can find you? How can they get involved? How can they learn more, even more about what you do?
Sure. Probably the best way is to go to the website. So it's www.womantrepreneur.org. And then as soon as you go to the website, it'll say contact us. There'll be a pop-up. So just contact us. It'll usually go directly to myself or my assistant. And then we'll just have a conversation with you. Like I said, it's all about building relationships and actually getting to know the person, and which I think makes a huge difference. So we'll have that conversation, see where you are, what your needs are, and then we just kind of take it from there.
Fantastic. And I told you that I would ask you about Women's History Month. That is this month. And so when I say the word hero, what woman comes to mind for you?
I think I gave you a different answer. Can I give you 2 answers, Ted?
You can give me whatever you'd like.
Okay. So my first one is my mom. And she has been my hero in my life. That she just recently passed away. So, but I learned so much from her, and she just never stopped. And it's funny because I was telling my boys who are almost grown now that, she didn't really stop and talk to me and teach me, but I just watched her. I watched, and she just was such a great hero and inspiration and motivation for me to go out there. And then not only that, but just serve others, because she's always there to serve others. Yeah. And my second answer is all the members that we have, the women that I serve today through WOMANtrepreneur. And I know this is going to, sound, I can't think of the word of it, a little biased or whatnot because they're my members, but truly, like what you said, Ted, like these women are amazing. And we don't have, like you said, there are some groups where you've gone to and the women and you're like, oh no, I don't know if, and we don't have any of that. I mean, everybody gets along and wants to truly support each other. It's really kind of amazing. I look forward to going to work for that reason, because it even lifts my spirits on a down day. So they're just my heroes. They're out there impacting the world. They're doing what it takes, because to build a business takes time, patience, persistence. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. But it's just amazing to see them come together and help each other and our community.
Beautiful. See, you could, it's your show. You could have gone on for 25
can I? Okay, hold on. Let me keep going.
All right. You're a joy to have on. Please come back on anytime.
Thank you for having me.
The women that watch the show, if you have an entrepreneurial idea, if you are stuck and you're already an entrepreneur, if you want to find a group, a person, an organization that can help you move forward, you're struggling or you have new ideas, I definitely would love for you to reach out to the one and only Vanessa Perez, WOMANtrepreneur. See, I'm gonna get it.
That was
always at the end. I don't know why. 75 practices later. But you can reach out to Vanessa anytime. And if you need her and you can't reach her, reach out to me and I'll get you to her. Vanessa, thank you so much for what you do. Appreciate you. Big shout out to the one and only Lake Nona Regional Chamber of Commerce. We love them. Yes. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Thank you for having me, Ted.
All right, guys. We'll be back soon. You guys are always looking for help and assistance and some sort of mentor.